Hey, Ober Sports, Jacob Ober here. I'm going to get right to the point. I believe that the Packers, should they win their final 3 games of the season, are going to go to the Super Bowl. And that seems like a very bold statement, but if the Packers are able to beat Carolina, Minnesota, and Detroit, they're going to be in the playoffs, and they're going to have the best quarterback in the NFC behind them. Now, we all know Aaron Rodgers just came back from injury, right? He broke his collarbone 8 weeks ago. He's now returning. He was just medically cleared to play. He was taking snaps at quarterback 1 in practice today. It's pretty much confirmed that he's going to start at Carolina. And the reason I think the Packers, if they win their final 3 games, will go to the Super Bowl is because, number one, the NFC is not good this year. We have a lot of very inconsistent football teams. We have the Eagles, who were the clear-cut best team in the NFC, and then they lost Carson Wentz. We have the Rams, who are good this year, but inexperienced and a little bit inconsistent. We have the Seattle Seahawks, who are very talented, but they lack consistency as well. We have the Minnesota Vikings, who are the Minnesota Vikings. Now, it's pretty crazy to say something like that. It's not really based on any logic or reason or facts, but the Vikings have done this so many times. They've come so close, only to come up so short. I mean, there's even a chance that I really think the Vikings have a chance to lose out and lose the NFC North to Green Bay. I really do think that they have a chance to do that. I think it's not as crazy as it seems either. The Vikings have a tendency to do things like this at the end of the season, and as good as Case Keenum has been this season, I don't believe in Case Keenum whatsoever, and I don't believe in Teddy Bridgewater either. Now, I'm sure you're probably thinking, well, I'm a Packers fan. Of course I would say that, right? But really, I try to be impartial, and honestly, I've been watching the Vikings play for a very long time. I can remember back to when Brett Favre left the Packers and went to the Jets, then went to the Vikings, went to the NFC Championship. Looked like it was Minnesota's year to finally win it all for the first time. And what happened? I've seen the Vikings. I saw the Vikings rally to win the NFC North in 2015, and then I saw them a week later choke against the Seattle Seahawks with that missed field goal. I saw the Vikings. I didn't see them, but I know that the Vikings have done it many times in the past. They've lost 4 Super Bowls. They choked the NFC Championship in 1998 with a missed field goal. In 2003 they lost on a Hail Mary to a 4-12 team in the Arizona Cardinals that ended up that ultimately let the Packers win the NFC North that year. I've seen the Vikings do this time and time again, and I don't think this year is going to be any different. And no offense to you Vikings fans, but I don't believe in your team, and I don't think I ever will. But really, there's just nobody. I mean, I think Carolina, of all teams, has the best chance of going to the Super Bowl if Green Bay doesn't make it. The Saints, they have a good, strong running game with Kamara and Ingram. And they have, obviously, the Hall of Fame quarterback, Drew Brees. The Falcons, they're not impressing me whatsoever, even though they're 8-5. I feel like they're not even close to the same team they were last season, and I think they have a legitimate chance of losing 2 of their final 3 games. Really, though, the reason I say that the Packers are going to go to the Super Bowl should they make the playoffs is that we've seen Aaron Rodgers do it before. We've seen him get into the playoffs as a 6th seed, take his team all the way, and win. We have seen him go 4-6 with the Packers and win the final 6 games of the regular season, get into the playoffs, win the next 2 in the playoffs, get to the NFC Championship game, and ultimately fall short to one of the greatest offensive teams of all time in the Atlanta Falcons. We have seen him do it so many times. We have seen him throw 3 Hail Marys. We have seen him already come back from a collarbone injury and win the NFC North. We've seen him do it so many times. And while I would be thrilled and think it was an incredible feat if Green Bay actually does go to the Super Bowl this year, I can't say I'd be surprised, because we know Aaron Rodgers is one of the great talents to ever play football at the quarterback position, and I wouldn't be surprised. I really wouldn't. And I know it's a bold statement to make things, to say something like the Packers are going to win the Super Bowl or go to the Super Bowl if they make the playoffs, but really it just feels like intuition at this point. The Packers do it every year, and you can say that the Packers choke every year too, but the Packers, every single year, they find a way to get close. And it very well might not be Green Bay's year. They could make the playoffs and lose in the first round. They can make the playoffs, lose in the second round. They can make the playoffs and lose in the championship. They could make the playoffs and lose in the Super Bowl. They couldn't even make the playoffs at all. They might lose against Carolina this week, and that would be it. We wouldn't even be having this discussion. It could be over in 1 week. But the Packers are simply, with Aaron Rodgers, the Packers were the best team in the NFC, and now they're the best team in the NFC again with Aaron Rodgers. Even if Rodgers has a rust, even if Rodgers doesn't have a great game against Carolina, he elevates this team so much. I've never seen an NFL player ever be able to do that. Or really, I mean, you have to look to the NBA to find players who can elevate a team as much as Aaron Rodgers elevates the Green Bay Packers. Really, I know that I base most of my arguments off of facts, logic, and reason. I don't usually do things like this, but I really, truly believe that the Packers are going to do it if they win the next 3 games. It just has that feeling. It's the magical feeling in the air that Aaron Rodgers is back, that this team now has a fighting chance, that Brett Hundley was able to keep this team alive, that they won 2 straight overtime games and games that they absolutely had to win, that Aaron Rodgers came back on December 12th, the same week that Star Wars The Last Jedi comes out. It's all a bunch of coincidences, I know, but it just feels like something is there, something is happening, something magical is happening with the Packers right now. And, I mean, the way the Packers won the last 2 games, and, I mean, it's such a perfect script, isn't it? The Packers struggle without Aaron Rodgers after suffering injury, but Brett Hundley comes up huge in the next 2 games and gets the Packers within striking distance. And Aaron Rodgers comes back on 12/12 of all days, December 12th, and he could win the final 3 games, get the Packers to the playoffs, and win the Super Bowl. That would be the most storybook ending to a season I've ever heard. It would be unbelievable, but I believe it. I believe it could happen. And I'm sure many Packers fans believe it too. So I know I shouldn't be making claims like this. It's all purely coincidental that he came back on December 12th. But you just feel like, hey, everything's going right for us. He even came back on Aaron Rodgers Day, right? It's a confidence booster. It's an uplifting feeling. It's positive energy that the Packers can use. And I really believe that Aaron Rodgers, even if he doesn't play great, his presence alone just boost this Packers team exponentially. So, anyways, that's all I have to say in this video. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe. If you haven't checked out my most recent highlight video of Aaron Rodgers highlights from weeks 1 to 4, go check that out now. Immediately following this video, I'll have my Twitter handles, so go check out those if you're interested in having instant updates for Wisconsin sports. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and I can't wait to see what happens these final 3 weeks, and hopefully the preceding weeks to follow for this Green Bay Packers team. It's going to come down to it, and I can't wait. So anyways, I'll see you guys later. Go Pack Go, as always. Thanks for watching.